All right, so we are packed up. We got everything. Oh my goodness, everything. So much stuff. So we are packed up. We are getting ready to head out. We were actually planning on being here until the morning. However, we're going to try to get maybe 4 hours of the drive done tonight and then try to stay somewhere at or just past Little Rock if we can make it. So I'm going to plug in our home address and let's see what the navigation says. All right, so unfortunately we weren't strategic at the end of our stay here, so we are going to have to go to the Sulphur Springs Supercharger, which is the first stop. We're going to leave here about 7 o'clock, so in about 15 minutes. So add that to all these stops, means Little Rock about midnight. So it's going to be a late night, at least for us, but total trip looks like 17 hours and 35 minutes. So pretty long drive. On the way down, since we left with almost 100%, we actually got to skip a charger. So this time we're not so lucky because we're at 64%. So more charging this way around, 976 miles. So let's take a look at our full trip so far. We are at 1,129 miles. 341 watt-hour per mile, which is terrible. And we've consumed 385 kilowatt hours of energy. So if you didn't check out the first road trip video, I'll put the link up here for you to check that out. We got terrible efficiency on the way down here to Texas, and that was because of wind and rain. There was a storm rolling through basically the entire trip on the way down, at least the first half, so it was really bad. It is kind of drizzly right now, so it is going to be wet. So we're going to have to be careful about, how we're driving. But the speed limits down here are pretty fast, so we should be able to make up some time, hopefully. But again, we're going to try to make it to Little Rock, spend the night there, and then we will only have, 12 hours left or something like that. So we'll just see how it goes. We're going to finish getting everything together and get the boys in here and then hit the road. So we will see how we do getting to Sulphur Springs. It says we should arrive there at 34% at 8 o'clock, 8:15 with that 15 minutes. So we will see how we do. Made it, yay, 24%. We're gonna be here for 20 minutes. I'm actually gonna go just a little bit deeper because of our trip down here. I just want to make sure we don't have issues like we did on the way down. So I want to be able to go the speed I want to go. We did 331 watt-hour per mile since last charge, actually. So 352 on that last leg at 72 miles. So not so great. Again, really hilly, but not too bad. Let's get plugged in and we will be here for about 20 or 30 minutes while we have some dinner. All right, we're at 71%. Should arrive with 21% left. Total of $4.18. We're going to unplug and hit the road. So we arrived 20% as expected. Should be here for about 25 minutes. Let's get plugged in and we'll talk about the rest of the trip here in a minute. 358 watt-hour per mile, 35 kilowatt hours, 96.6 miles. All right, so here's the plan. We're charging up. Again, the next stop is Little Rock Supercharger, and here's what we're going to do. we actually went ahead and booked a hotel, and it is right here somewhere. There it is, right there. So the parking lot touches, which is fantastic. So we should be there about 12:30 in the morning, sometime around then. So we're gonna let this thing finish up charging, probably get it that full 20 minutes, maybe a few extra minutes, and we will be on our way. I'll update you when we're done charging to look at our total cost. All right, we're all charged up, 81%, $5.72. It says we'll arrive at 16%. We'll see how that actually works out, because traffic moves a little fast down here in the south. So we'll get unplugged and get to the hotel. So we made it actually at about 12:25. We got checked into the hotel, but I'm over here at the supercharger because we need to plug in. We arrived at 9%, which is too low to let it sit. You really shouldn't do that. You're not going to break the car, but it's not good for the battery to let it sit at such a low charge for an extended period of time. So let's see here. We did 366 watt-hour per mile. It was a lot of hills, that whole stretch, 131.9 miles. Which is why the consumption was so high. So I'm gonna get it plugged in, and then we're gonna talk about this just a little bit more. All right, so plugged in, we're going to let it charge for a little bit. So it says we need to charge for 35 minutes to get to our next stop, which is Memphis. And what we're going to do, I'm gonna show you. So at that last stop, I booked the hotel. That was a couple hours ago. I'm at the supercharger right now, as you can see. And then right back here, those blue lights, that's our hotel. So all I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to charge it enough to get above 20%, maybe 25%. And that way it's safe to leave it overnight without any major issues with the battery. So it's best to do this just to help give your battery the longest life it can have. So it's the only reason I'm doing this. We're just going to do a quick short charge this evening, and then what's going to happen is in the morning, when we wake up, I'm going to run downstairs, take the car, bring it back over here and plug it in, and then get as much charge as we can. So that way, by the time we're all ready, we've had our breakfast, so on and so forth, we can just hit the road and go with as much charge as we can get. So that's the plan. So as you can see, our next leg from Little Rock to Memphis, and of course I showed you on the way down, we got to go into Memphis, then back out to go north. Now, there is a supercharger station being set up right here somewhere and right here somewhere. So once those two are done, you can skip Memphis, and that's going to be really nice. This is a long stretch. As you can see, we need to charge quite a bit here, and then in Memphis we got to charge quite a bit there as well, and that's because these legs are pretty long. Probably some of the longer ones I've seen certainly in a while. So anyways, we'll make our way up into Missouri and then into Illinois for Effingham, and that should be technically our last stop. However, if we look at the map here, there is another charger here that we might tap into, and then looks like another one there. So we'll see how it goes. It is definitely faster to charge more frequently for less time than it is to charge for long periods of time at one charger. So if it's possible, that's what we're going to do. We will just have to wait and see in the morning. So total trip right now, we're at 345 watt-hour per mile, 1,430 miles, 493 kilowatt hours. So I'm going to let this charge to about 25%, and then I'm going to go back park and go to bed, because we are old people. 12:48 a.m. Central Time, which is an hour behind our normal time. This is super late for us. So we're going to get this thing taken care of, get parked. I'll let you know how much we charged and how much that cost. so that way we can add that to tomorrow morning's charge when I bring it over here to plug it in. All right, so that actually charged faster than I was prepared for, so that's a good thing, I guess. 32%, $4.14. I'm going to unplug now, and we will finish this charge in the morning. 33%, $4.14. And good morning. It is 7 a.m. We are just about fully charged this morning when we got up. I drove the car over here to the supercharger, got it charged up while we had some breakfast, and got the boys moving in the morning. So let's take a look at what we have left for this trip. All right, we're at 95%. We can make it to Memphis with 13% at this point. So we're gonna go ahead and unplug, get packed up and go. It says we'll be there at 9:30. We have about 12 hours, it says, to get home. 11 hours and 48 minutes, 6:52 p.m. So we gotta get back to the hotel and load up this car real quick, but hopefully we can make it home before 7 p.m. We will just have to wait and see. All right, we charged up to 34% yesterday, and we are now at 96%, another $10.35. We're gonna go ahead and unplug, and we will get going. All right, we made it. 365 watt-hour per mile. We continue to get terrible efficiency on this entire trip. 163.5 miles, 60 kilowatt hours consumed. Gonna be here for at least 40 minutes to get to Minor, Missouri. So we'll get plugged in and get this thing charged up. 9:51. Have a good little nap. I can see your hair.
And I have a good nap too.
Yeah. All right, we're charged up 91%, $8.69. And it looks like our arrival at 13%, so we're not gonna be able to go too terribly fast. 12:54 arrival. Let's get going. We made it. That was a brutal stretch. Super tired now. 368 watt-hour per mile, about the same as we've been having. Almost 160 miles, 59 kilowatt hours consumed. So here's the thing. It wants us to charge for an hour because it wants us to make it all the way to Effingham. However, this charger right here is halfway. So we are going to set that as our destination instead and only have to be here for 30 minutes, I guess. So that should save us a little bit of time, and then we're gonna go ahead and plug in and get moving. Seriously though, do you have family? You got kids? You need a Model Y. You having some chicken? Some chicken, that's right. Tesla Model Y. For families, that's where it's at. All right, we're all charged up. 77%, be at Mount Vernon at 18%. And unplugging now, $12.42. Looks like 119 miles, 1 hour and 44 minutes. Should be there about 3:15. We'll see when we get there. 16%. We did our best so far, 344 watt hour per mile, 41 kilowatt hours consumed, 119 miles. We have a 30-minute charge, and then we've got a short drive to Terre Haute, which is our last charging stop for 20 minutes there. So we'll get plugged in and get rolling. What do you find?
I found a grasshopper.
A grasshopper?
Yeah, we're bouncing with him. Bounce!
All right, we are 69%, $10.64. We have overcharged by a lot. We'll arrive at 35%. So hard to do this with kids and be efficient with time. Let's get unplugged and hit the road. Should arrive there about 4:30. Only 67 miles, so not bad. All right, we made it 3%. We actually were supposed to stop in Effingham to charge there, but we had just enough juice to drive a little bit slower to get to Terre Haute, so we can have a charge here. We did 317 watt hour per mile, which is pretty good. We were doing 70 to 75, so that is more in line with how this should be going. 139.8 miles, 44 kilowatt hours. We're gonna get plugged in and charged. It says 25 minutes, but we've got some good dinner. Yep, pretty good. So we're going to eat and charge as long as it takes us to eat. So we'll get plugged in and charge it up. All right, we're done eating. How was dinner?
Good.
It was good?
Good.
Did you have ice cream too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we are fully charged. We're at 88%, so we're gonna unplug. We're well past what we need, but might as well charge while we're eating. Just finished eating, so let's take a look. All right, 100 miles to go. We can get there at 37% left. Really simple, and 89%. So let's see here, $8.97. I'm gonna unplug and get this going. All right, so that last leg, we actually unplugged at that previous supercharger, and as we were moving, it dawned on me that we were going to the wrong supercharger. I was supposed to come to this one, but it was actually directing us to the one before this in Effingham. So I was doing 80, 85 with a group of cars, and then it dawned on me, if we slow down, we can actually make it to Terre Haute, which is where we're at now. So we went ahead and slowed down to 70, 75 so we could make it here, and that way this is our last stop, which is, I don't know, 30 miles closer or something like that. So at 88%, we are going to make this last hour and a half of the drive home. So we should be home here very, very soon. I think it is, I don't know, 7 o'clock or something. It is 7:30, so we're a little behind schedule, but it is what it is. So let's get going and get home. Great news, obviously we made it home, so let's take a look at how we did. All right, so that last leg we did 312 watt hour per mile, 31 kilowatt hours, 99.9 miles. That's pretty cool. Anyways, we are home now, which is great. Let's see how the whole trip looks 2,112 miles, 728 kilowatt hours of energy, and 345 watt hour per mile, which is a new record terrible for us for a road trip. All right, so let's talk about consumption. So the consumption was so bad because this road trip was the first road trip that I didn't care at all about consumption. It was all about getting to where we wanted to go as quickly and safely as we could. So when there was a pack of cars that was going, not super crazy fast, but faster, we followed them. And so we were doing about 80. And when you get past, I believe it was Memphis, the speed limit's 75 miles an hour. So we were doing 80 to 85 a lot of this trip, and the consumption was terrible. Now, on the way down, we were stuck in terrible wind and rain, and that was really bad consumption. There was nothing we could do about that. Now, on the way back, the last couple of legs, we did a lot more moderate speeds, so 70 to 75, and our consumption reflects that. So doing 70 to 75, you should be able to obtain about 300 watt hour per mile, maybe 315 at 75. But there were some areas where we were doing about 270 watt hour per mile at 70 miles an hour, which is not bad at all. So that is about as ideal as it's going to get. Now, again, induction wheels, fully loaded with all of our stuff, the kids, so on and so forth. So anyways, as usual, the car did great. It was quite a breeze. It's so easy to do road trips in Teslas. It's actually a lot of fun, so we enjoy it. It does take more time than a gas car. There's no question about it. Don't let anybody fool you. So basically every 5 hours of normal driving, add an hour for charging. That's not a perfect math, but that seems to be about what it is for us. So a 10-hour trip takes 12 hours. This was a 14-hour trip, and it took 17 hours. So yeah, about an hour of charging per 5 hours of driving is roughly about that. As always, you can enhance your timing and make your trip more efficient if you're able to go to your supercharger, plug in, find the next supercharger along your route, regardless of which one it tells you to go to, and charge just enough to get there. If you have kids, you are not going to be able to do this. We have tried and tried and tried. This is our third major road trip in this car, and we have yet to have the perfect stop. With kids, it is so hard to do. If you don't have kids, you're going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to pull in, plug in immediately, and leave at the exact time you need to leave to get to the next supercharger, and that is the only way to do it. Otherwise, just go with the flow. Still use the same strategy. Stop at every supercharger along the way. Unless you're stopping for lunch or something, you can charge enough to skip one. But that continues to be the best method of charging in a Tesla. So thank you so much for joining us today. We were glad to have you along the journey with us. If you haven't already, of course, subscribe to the channel as we continue to post content regularly. If you like this video, give it the thumbs up. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.